swapping them out.
Mine. Oh, hold on.
Always have a spare pair of Valve Index controllers.
Wait, let me get my stool. So I'm actually like sitting on a stool. Immersion. That's what VR is about.
I'm not even gonna bother. I didn't even bother sitting in my cable suspension. I literally just turned it on. I'm like, fuck it.
Pop one Adult Swim edition.
Spending the past. I was spending the past couple hours working on stuff for Veil upload since they're pushing out a whole bunch of stuff. I wanted to help them out by because more people uploading more stuff out. Veil helps the algorithm for more people to find out what Veil is.
I really hope Veil does very well.
Be cool. I mean, it's starting off strong.
Oh yeah, I was happy. One of my friends that thought he was just gonna be working in retail the rest of his life. I managed to get him a job over Veil. He was like, it's a life changer for him.
Oh, nice.
We had that situation.
See, that's what I think. That's what I think about whenever I think about us being able to do stuff in VR. Is that the connections that we make? We can just send a simple text message and change someone's life. Possibly, that's the kind of power that I want. That I think that we can all aspire to try to get, is to just send a message and boom, instantly someone's life has been changed and made better because we spent 5 seconds to send a message. That kind of thing is something that I think we can all aspire to, is to try to make people's lives better.
100%.
Yes, sir. I mean, I look at this guy over here and he's like, yeah, I want you on Vortex. And here I am now.
Here we are. I just happen to be one of the best teams, but it's mostly because of him. So in reality, he's doing all the work for me. That's the whole reason I brought him on.
It's all a scam. It's always a scam with Sumachi.
Best Pavlov player. Let's go.
It's called delegation. That's management skills right there.
Yo, chat wants us to get Yellow Hat a new avatar because the hat ain't yellow.
Oh yeah, dude. I wonder if
scam.
I still have it.
Wise director is in an armored iron suit. He's missing his tuxedo.
Hey, we
need to get this man a tuxedo avatar.
We don't talk about.
Well,
if someone can make my channel avatar is the most simplistic thing of all time. I feel like I could probably pay someone $50 to do it. I just don't know where to look because I'm not going to Fiverr. That crap's weird.
It was hard to find somebody to do mine, to be honest.
I think I had to delete the hat that I gave you before, Yellow.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to fix my avatar issue, so I just ended up deleting all of the avatars that I had uploaded. But it's okay. Yeah, avatars can be expensive. If you just want a retexture, they'll be $40 to $60. But if you want your own avatar, it's gonna be $300 minimum, probably. If you want an avatar,
I wouldn't mind that, but I've seen people that are charging $1,000. I'm like, all I need is the simple full black uniform with the tux part on the front and then the meme sunglasses and possibly having the thing where the mouth kind of moves underneath the mask that you can kind of see, and that's all I want. I don't want the fancy crap. I don't really care about it. I just want something very simple, but I need to find someone to do it that I can give them the details and they'll do it right. Because the worst part is whenever they actually complete the project, they'll send it back to you and it's somebody you don't know that's just all right, now pay me. And I'm like, but you didn't do this right. He's like, I don't care, pay me.
Yeah.
Fiverr.
Well, usually on Fiverr they'll get the money in advance, and yeah, they'll usually eventually.
You can refund it on Fiverr. Sometimes.
Yeah, they'll usually refund you. I mean, I've heard horror stories, but I've never heard anything to where I wouldn't give it a shot.
One of my friends tried to pay for this thing that was a Twitch promotional thing. That somebody's just oh yeah, I'll send your link to a bunch of these people that'll follow you and watch your stream and all that. And he sent it, and during his live stream, he got, I think it was 300 followers within the snap of his fingers, because the guy just sent bots to follow him.
Yeah.
And he's just this isn't what I asked for. And he's like, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're trying to act like they're selling something that's real and it's not. And then when they give you the fake product, they're like, I gave you the product. But
I know, but they'll advertise the thing as oh, you don't know me, but I'm very famous, and so my word will have thousands of people come to your streams or whatever. And I'm just you, sir, can go. Wait, hold on. You, sir, can go make yourself trademark.
Well,
most definitely.
What is this? Okay, we can get started though.
We've kind of already been started in a sense, but we'll officially start here.
This has kind of been started.
We kind of already started halfway.
Chat, which means stop looking at your chat. As soon as
I'm gonna stop looking at chat now.
Sometimes,
so that we can have the podcast here. Yeah, I'm 33% worse at pop when I stream. So It's been
did the math.
statistically charted. Yeah. But
I was gonna ask if you did the math.
I'm still looking at chat. All right, I gotta
I don't
stop.
think I've
It's
ever
all
tried to do
Clay's
math.
fault.
I don't
If you see my wrist
think I've
bend
ever tried to
inward
do
and my
math for
hand
a
go
video
up, it's
game.
me like looking at chat.
I don't think I've ever tried to do math for a video game ever. I've never tried to take it seriously enough.
You've never min-maxed Diablo or something? Come on.
There's so many.
RuneScape?
There's so many
I don't know.
games that require math.
I go in there, guns blazing, swords a swinging, both swords a swinging, and I just let God do God's work.
Let's introduce our guests. We got two guests tonight. Really, we got Wise Director and Yellow Hat. So if y'all want to introduce yourselves, I think people know y'all in the chat.
There
But
you go. There you go.
All right. Well, all right. I'll go first then. I'm Yellow Hat, and I kind of met the whole Vortex community through that guy right there, Mr. Smachi, and I play a lot of Pavlov VR. It's like a VR FPS, and I've been delving more into like Veil, and I did a little bit of Contractors too. But it's I'm really into the whole like competitive VR and like VR esports and all that, and that's kind of where my main focus lies. I do the YouTube videos on like, I like to do a lot of like tutorial guides to help people get better at the game. So that's
Best
cool, I
Pavlov
guess.
tutorials on YouTube. Go check them out. Yellow Hat
Yeah,
07.
yes, sir. Anyways.
I like the finger guns at the end. That was a nice touch. All right. You still going? Or?
No, you.
Mr.
Okay,
Director?
I didn't want to cut you off. Yeah.
No, you're
Wise
good.
Director of VR Central. I stream on Twitch, make videos for YouTube. Been playing games my whole life, and then fell in love with VR when it came out in 2015 with the Gear VR. Literally upgraded my phone that week just so I could use the Gear VR. Then I switched to PC VR and never looked back. But I want to try to make people's lives better through VR. Just giving out games when I can and just streaming for long periods of time to make people happy.
it's why all of us are here, just trying to make people happy.
I stream to make people more
Heck yeah.
miserable. I don't know about you guys. I want them to go to my stream and be like,
I
this
stream
guy.
because people
Get him outta
like
here.
making me miserable, apparently. Like, my chat will specifically vote for
This
games
is
that they
100%
know that I'm
true
going to be
because
terrible.
chat is toxic.
They voted for me to play Green Hell last night, and it was literally me just going around like, oh no, I'm low on carbohydrates. Oh crap, I got leeches on me. Is that a jaguar? Oh, me.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the whole reasons that I added the ability to throw objects at me on stream. So that
Chat
just
wants
chat.
to fuck us, literally.
Yeah, exactly. But
I don't know what
Anyways.
my
They're not-
chat
Well,
wants.
if they're gonna look, I mean, if they're gonna try to you, the least they could do is record it.
All right, I'll post my
we just
OnlyFans
got
after this.
DMCA'd.
You're probably right.
I don't know. Wait, why is that a trend? Because people have been telling me, "Oh, you should make one." Like, I know that it's a joke, but like, it's like
don't have
everybody
one?
now they keep saying that. No.
What's wrong with you? Come on. I'm not
I
answering
said I was
that.
making one at 100K YouTube subscribers, so 95,000 left. A little bit more than that.
Oh.
On the
One of
way.
the people from the we were speaking a little bit about Veil earlier. One of the people from the Veil Discord called me out because a long time ago, when I only like 300 subs, I made this like absurd claim that somebody was saying that I was I think somebody made a joke about me being a pimp or something like that. And I'm like, fine, I'll go get a pimp cane when I get 1,000 YouTube subs. And then I was at 3K, and someone like went all the way back in the Discord to find that conversation and called me out. I was like,
So do you have a
now I gotta
pimp
buy a
cane?
pimp cane. Business
You don't have a
expense.
pimp cane? Come on.
And if you do have a pimp cane, have you ever hit anyone
Tax
with your
exemption.
pimp cane? Have you used the
what? It's
pimp
on the
cane?
bucket list.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good bucket list item.
It's on the list. If
Acquire
Sumachi knows,
and club
if
someone with
I know
pimp cane.
Sumachi knows. I know Sumachi remembers Ivan. If anything, Ivan's going to be the first one to hit with that pimp cane. Because he deserves it. He's an
Sumachi's
ass.
like, I don't fucking remember
Don't
Ivan.
look at me. Don't look at me.
You don't remember Ivan?
I would
Say
need to get more context than
Say
Ivan.
yes. Crazy Ivan, the one that loves to shoot RPGs, and he's working at Veil now.
Oh, Crazy Ivan. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking
yeah.
about. I'm like, Ivan, like I thought that was his name, and I'm like, what is his username?
No,
I don't know.
I mean,
Crazy, I know
it's,
Crazy
you just.
Ivan.
Yeah, he I mean he's a really good friend of mine, but we literally just make each other's lives miserable because we do it for jokes. He spent all of his free time for 2 whole months in Vale to make an RPG that has my gamer tag engraved on the rocket, says "To Wise Director," and like hid in the armory where no one can find it, just so he could like grab it and then shoot it and kill me with it while I was live one time, and then just hid it and no one ever found it again. Like he spent 2 months leading up to that just to like give me the middle finger and be like, and now it's gone.
He's got to put it back in the game as an Easter egg.
Yeah, no,
they threw like a couple hidden guns in there that I found because I had Mr. John Cletus show me around. He's another one of the Vale devs, and
we were talking about that because John was like a huge Pavlov map maker, and then got hired on by the Vale guys.
Yeah. Things happened, but
no, I'm not gonna go into all that, but
yeah. No, John's a great guy.
We can talk about Vale.
Yeah, I mean, he like taught me a little bit about like UE4 and stuff. I've been meaning to learn that and like get into map design and whatnot. And like, I mean, he's doing great for like map stuff over with the Vale team. So
Vale's not made it. Vale's
in that game
in Unreal or Unity.
It is in Unreal. I'm pretty sure it's Unreal.
It's Unreal.
It's Unreal.
Oh, okay.
I don't know which version.
What other VR games do we have in the Unreal Engine?
Pavlov, Contractors,
Onward?
Grapple Tournament?
No, Onward uses.
I don't know about Onward.
I'm pretty sure Onward uses Unity. I thought, don't they?
Contractors uses Unreal. I think I know that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they definitely do. But Sumachi, if you, fucking Starwind and Sumachi, actually, and Yellow Hat, if any of you guys have not tried Grapple Tournament, that is an amazing game. It is so damn fun.
I have tried Grapple Tournament. I will tell you a better game with grappling is Beanstalker. Beanstalker for sure.
Yeah,
you've
been
chilling Beanstalker hard. I was streaming it earlier too. But yeah.
It's a good one.
It's on sale for $10, so pick up Beanstalker.
Grapple Tournaments is one of those games that I picked up for like $5 or $6, and then I never played it because I'm just like.
That's where I met Wise Director. Was playing Grapple Tournament.
Dude, that is such a fun game. It is.
So Grapple
it's just
Tournament
the
for me, it's like it didn't have enough.
Just going around and.
It didn't have enough collision to it, if that makes sense. So like when you shoot people with guns in that game,
like, I get
they're kind of floofy. You know, they don't have like a good sound to them.
No,
the impacts are a little rough.
Yeah, I get that. And
there's no player base.
But there's nothing. But there is nothing more satisfying than hitting somebody over the head with a frying pan and it goes bonk.
No, I liked the game. I was hoping it would get a little better.
Well, now it does. I mean, before they didn't have the frying pan, but I made an entire video called The Bonkening Season 1, where I had like 50 plus kills of me killing people with a frying pan.
All in one game?
I was getting triples on the you know, and like within like separate, like I got like probably 20 kills per game, but I wanted to highlight the funniest ones because some of the enemies yelled back at me, or like I would end up getting a triple. Like I didn't want to like clip every single one of me individually getting a kill, but I wanted to do like the ones that were absurdly like there's no way he should have lived through that kind of stuff.
Huh.
Or like if I had a conversation with the enemy beforehand, I'm like, did you know that you can save 15% or more by switching to Geico?
Dude, Lurf and Bricktop actually placed first and second in the pan tournament that they had for contractors. So Lurf actually has a legitimate skillet, like a VREL skillet. Like it's like plated, engraved.
Yeah,
everything.
I saw that was the prize.
So
wow.
So Lurf has that.
All a game needs to be good's a pan, evidently.
Yeah, I mean,
take the VR game, add pan, good to go.
There's a certain amount of like traits that you have to have in any VR FPS. Like the Grapple Tournament devs made that map called Container, and their reasoning when someone asked them for it was like, well, what's a VR FPS game without having a map of containers in it? And I'm like, I can't think of one that doesn't have containers in it.
Sure.
Add more containers.
You're not wrong.
Like every COD game's had one with containers in it.
I have a thing for Vale in the whole thing, so we can just like, since we moved off, we can leave and come back. Yeah, we'll leave and come back.
Okay.
All right, move along. Look at this beautiful picture. I just really want to take a moment.
Oh God.
If you haven't seen the set, we have like a We have like a little thing back here. Yeah.
No, I
But
mean,
isn't it
I'm
beautiful?
just disturbed by how close this is to my face and the fact that it's.
Look at his
Yeah,
smile. Do you see his
Zuckerberg.
teeth? You can see that he brushed them this morning. They're very clean.
I'm seeing some yellow.
You have weird fetishes, Starwin. Can we talk about the headset?
I mean, this is a really creepy picture of Mark Zuckerberg, though. But anyways, yeah, Did you see the video of the prototype headsets?
I don't think I watched that. No.
I saw that one.
Didn't see it. Okay, so you saw it.
Yeah, they pulled out like 3 different headsets. Like we
It was more than
had the
3.
scientists
Hold on,
look into this aspect.
That's how many
and-
headsets they were showing on there. So that's all the different prototype
there's
headsets.
three- Okay.
Glasses on.
Okay. Well, so
Yeah.
what they did is they pulled out a bunch of different headsets and they just gave them to different teams, and they're like, we want a headset that does this, do this, and then they're like, make the lenses as small as possible and have a high res image, and then they tell another team like, all right, make the headset as comfortable as possible, and they tell each dev team something different, and then they're gonna try to like pull the best aspects from like the best contenders and make one like super headset out of it.
That is a smart idea, but the thing that I'm a little bit disturbed about is that this looks like a Star Wars like fighting ship. Like it looks like one of the like a not a TIE fighter, but like a
Maybe
what I
that
mean, like
one
one
was,
of the
hey,
one
make
of the
the
rebel
Quest
ships.
not have absolute shit sound. Maybe that's what that one was.
Yeah, well the one thing that Oculus has had some trouble with is the sound. Like even going back to the CV1, like I loved it, but the biggest issue is the fact that the audio ribbon literally gave out if you pulled the headset back too many times.
I mean, the index is
And the
kind of the
variation
same.
with that was the variation with that was like really large. Like some people said that they lost like all audio within their CV1 within like 3 months, and for me, mine lasted like 3.5 years. So like you never knew when that thing was gonna give out. It's just one day you'd wake up, and I never like knew what it was because I never researched it. I just one day I put it on my CV1 and I was just like, huh, I can't hear out of my left ear. 2 days later, huh, I can't hear out of either ears.
Is the CV1 the same one that had the
Yeah,
crackling
yeah.
issue with the mic?
That's Rift S.
No, that was the Rift
Oh,
S.
okay. I always remember I'd be like, oh, it was Rift person.
I still
You don't really
think
hear
that
it
the
anymore
Rift S
nowadays,
was just
though.
a ploy. I still think the Rift S was just a ploy to be able to for them to roll out a headset with internal tracking so they could collect everyone's data and use it to make the Quest 1. And then they did the same thing with the Quest 1 to make the Quest 2.
What kind of data? What do you mean?
Because they've rolled out
the Rift S came out after Quest 1.
Did it?
What kind of
Yeah,
data
I
would
honestly
they
can't
be
remember the
using though to
time
make
frame.
to work on the next headset though, per se?
You could collect player. I'm talking about like collecting player data, any kind of play test. Basically, kind of like having play testers, but having it on a mass-wide consumer scale.
I feel like with hardware though,
you'd be
there's not
surprised
much.
how much
There's
the-
not much they would get out of it. I don't know. At least not back then, because like I mean, most of the
remember-
stuff with hardware is like comfort or like vision. Like you're not really getting data on like how somebody perceives or like how comfortable someone is. You know what I mean? When you're like making a next generation
Yeah.
headset. I mean, once they add like eye tracking and stuff, though, I think you could probably get more stuff out of it like that.
Whoever
I remember
researched
I was
comfort-
reading.
I was saying whoever researched comfort for the Quest 2 didn't get the head strap right.
I think they were just trying to
No, they
make it
did not.
portable. Honestly, I think it was all about being portable and cheap.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked though how many
it does
people
its
just
job.
use that strap though. Like you would be shocked.
I do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't get any. I didn't get any peripherals with it because I got a Quest 2 back in April as well because I wanted to try like Quest exclusives and stuff. Because that's also getting really popular, and like I just use like default like no headphones and just default controllers. So
Quest sound in general sucks.
Yeah, I went
Yeah,
to the,
extra headphones. Like Pop-
deluxe audio strap like
Pop
immediately.
1. Yeah, Pop 1 people are like, oh, you're wall hacking. It's like, no, I can just hear which building you're in 3 buildings away because I'm not using a Quest. But like when I tried to play Pop 1 on the Quest, it was like ridiculous how much like less you can hear and how much more muffled everything is. So much harder.
Aside from hardware advantages, though, I think that's the biggest compliment you can get in the game is somebody thinking that you're hacking.
I know, right? I accuse some
Yes.
people
Yeah.
that they get mad about it sometimes.
So I because you've seen that I got like the haptics. I bought the arm haptics and I wanted to test it onward. So I loaded into a gun game that was halfway through already. Loaded in, just somehow managed to mow down the entire lobby and win, even though I joined in halfway through the game. And because they were dead, they loaded in before me. So I only heard the back end of his sentence of somebody in the lobby going, "I don't know, man. I thought I saw him moving kind of suspiciously." And then my screen cuts to black, and I load back in the main menu of Onward. It says you've been kicked.
Yeah.
I haven't played with Onward very much.
I played it a little bit. I played like one comp match and it was interesting. But the other like one thing, speaking of like being called hacker and stuff, is like a insult that people throw at like certain players is like, "Oh, he's definitely using a gun stock. Like he's definitely using a VR gun stock." I'm like, no, we're not. Like, at least on the Pavlov side of things, like not a lot of people use VR gun stocks. I know like in Onward it's popular because the engagements are longer, and some people use it in contractors, and like a good amount of people use it in Veil. But I'm just team freehand.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Pop 1's
I
like a
love-
terrible game for a gun stock, and people ask. I have people still ask, they're like, "What gun stock would you use?" I'm like, "I would never use a gun stock." Like, I would never use a gun stock in Pop
It's funny
1.
because like the perspective changes like entirely on what game you play. Like Pav and Contractors, it's like, oh, okay, like the V stock is good enough in both of these games that like you can use virtual stock and be fine. And then like Onward, it's like all over the place. And so like people like to use gun stocks in that game. But I love it that people use it as an insult, like, "Oh, you're using a gun stock, like you're using something that's pay to win." It's like, lol, what?
I mean, even if that's such a silly thing, but yeah, I'm sure.
Is there a pay to win VR game?
Is there a pay to win VR game?
Hey, stop stealing Facebook's ideas.
I would argue that the Silver Brood skin, is pay to win, but
I think it's pay to lose because it makes you have a target on your back. It's like Gold PJ. Like people see it and they want to kill you more, so they'll even like gang up on you in lobby.
I don't think there's a pay to win VR game yet.
But like Pavlov, you don't spend money on anything. Onward Contractors, no.
I think
There's
Pop
nothing that,
1's
like,
got
you-
the most microtransactions, honestly. And Beat Saber.
Yeah, it's all cosmetic though. There's
Yeah, I'm surprised other like other VR games haven't like followed suit on that yet.
What do you
Like
mean?
MTX. Well, just like microtransactions.
Pavlov.
Followed suit on.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
There
followed
are
suit on?
some that are wanting to, there are some that are
Like,
wanting to get into that. Like I was talking with some of the Onward devs, and they were talking about like, yeah, we want to do that. It's just they're like in the process of trying to implement a lot of different things, and they just haven't gotten to it yet. So it's like there's some developers that are wanting to do it, and they just haven't gotten around to it.
I mean,
It seems
selling
like one of
skins
the first
is cool.
things you'd want to
it's
code into your
fine.
game though.
Yeah, to
Wouldn't
make
it be?
money.
Like you'd want to create it, to not only like if you make money faster, you can hire more people and you can make your game faster in general. But if they're like, we really want to get these other aspects, it's like, I don't know. Like I'm not gonna be one to say like throw cosmetics in every game, but if you like are gonna say like Pavlov for example gets about 1 or 2 updates a year, right? But like a game like that, if they actually had a little bit of money to throw around and actually have a team to work on stuff, you'd have way more frequent updates. And Pavlov's
Look at Pop 1. It gets a lot of updates.
skins that's been in the game for like a year and a half.
my god, dude.
Yeah,
And you
I mean, it
press
does
it
depend on the amount of stuff going into it.
Coming
like
soon.
Onward had that partnership with Meta, so like they've got Facebook money now. So like that's they didn't. They're
that's
like,
not
oh,
true.
we're not like.
People don't get
Last
picked up by Meta and then have Meta money or Facebook money. That's not how it works. Facebook just buys them and then they're like, all right, go do your thing. And they don't.
I mean, I'm not going to claim that I know exactly how it works. I was just saying one of the Onward devs that told me is just like they were making jokes about having Facebook money.
I'm sure if you're like a company, right, and you like work there and you get acquired by somebody, you'd probably joke about it. But then once you actually get there and they're like, "No, we're gonna give you this much money," like, "Oh, okay."
I'm not gonna say no.
Because I mean, it's not like you
Yeah,
get
I'm not gonna say no.
access to like unlimited money, but I'm sure they get
Well, yeah, I
they
mean,
have a budget. It probably got larger. You know what I mean? So I would hope it got.
I mean,
larger.
speaking of Facebook's budget, though, I've noticed a lot more content creators will like specifically say, "Oh, I'm only going to upload videos with my Quest," because they're trying to get on like the Quest content creator radar to try to get more in tune with getting VR exclusives earlier and things like that, and possibly money and care packages.
Honestly, I think people do that too. Just
99% of the
because-
player base.
Yeah, I think that's
99%
it too.
of the VR player base in general is Oculus. It's That's where the
Yeah,
most
no, I
money's
mean, I'm
gonna
not
be.
saying if it's like good or bad or anything like that. I'm just saying like I've seen a lot more people doing it lately because I'll see people making, or at least content creator friends that I have will start making posts like, oh, I'm officially a Oculus content creator now and stuff like that. And they'll
I mean, the
get
sad
sent, like,
truth
a
is
care
though,
package or something.
like on top of that is even if you just like are posting a social media picture, you're gonna get way more traffic posting a picture of a Quest. So that's another reason they're gonna do it too. Like if I was to go take a pile of index headsets and like take a picture, it probably would not get as many likes as a pile of Quest headsets because there's more people that see a Quest, they recognize it, they have one themselves, and it's just like more relatable. So yeah, it's just like
Well, if you had
dominating.
a pile of index headsets, I'd be questioning where you got all that from.
I literally say that because I posted a pile of Quest headsets on Twitter, and it got like 100 something
What
likes.
if this was your pile? What if this was your pile of headsets?
It would
That'd be
probably
quite the
get
pile.
like 10,000 likes instead.
I
of
would
just,
call it Frankenstein.
and I would be having some very interesting VR
Look at this.
streams if I
Got
had this pile
snowboard
of
goggles.
headsets. Some of these are AR too.
You got some weird ones in here. Yeah, some
I
of these
swear
are
to God, they
mixed
just look
with
like
AR.
reading. Like it looks like someone accidentally left their reading
Google
glasses on
Glass.
a pedestal.
That one right there, I'm pretty sure, is an early prototype of the Meta headset, or not Meta headset, the Cambria headset. It looks just like it, but it has a silver band and there's like less curve to it for the cameras. It's the same. It's the same one he's wearing here. Look at that!
Get
Look
on,
at that beautiful face. Look at those! Look at those! Look at those dimples! Look at those dimples!
Get out of here. Get out of here, Storm.
Oh, my next pictures.
Facebook's what I don't know how many people are messing with
hate that it's, like,
headset
stretched.
creation.
It's wide zuck.
Disturbing.
It's wide zuck. He's like,
I don't know how many people are
Jump into
messing
the
with
metaverse
headset
with
creation,
me.
but
Jump into the metaverse with wide zuck.
it's so cursed.
A thing that I've tried to start with some of my friends about with like having jokes with Facebook is that we normally say like, oh, you fucked up. Now we started saying like if we say we fucked up but we're in VR, it's like, oh, you zucked up.
You zucked up. Somebody told me they
Yeah,
called
you done zucked up now,
Zuckerberg
kid.
the Eye of Sargon at the studio or wherever he works. It's like a secret name.
I saw it.
I don't know how true that is, but it seems plausible.
What?
This is probably
is
what
that
he
talk-
would. This is what he would look in to gaze at his employees. He's like, "This is the eye of." But that looks like
Yeah,
a
the
pretty crazy
fans.
VR
That-
headset.
That's not even a VR headset. It's just fans blowing on your eyes. That's all it is. There's nothing inside there.
It's a prototype
Just an
eye
It's
cooler.
an eye cooler if you.
We
Yeah.
thought
It's an
the
eye
same
cooler
thing.
after you. But Facebook's making a lot of progress towards just VR in general. Like they're really pushing what needs to be done, like standalone and all of that other stuff that
Yeah.
a lot of other companies. I wish we'd get a new PC VR headset already that is worth buying.
Hopefully,
Given the index.
hopefully the Steam magical, mythical, non-existent headset comes out soon, or like within the next
Yeah.
year. They at least like announce it, because I mean they can't even keep indexes in stock. So I don't know. We'll see. So if like,
I actually didn't even know there was a shortage for it because I never really had a problem getting mine. I didn't know there was a,
oh
like
yeah,
a shortage.
yeah.
or
If you
anything
go on the
with them.
website, you can literally only buy the full kit. You can't buy controllers by themselves. You can't buy anything. I think all you can buy is the full kit, and then if you go on iFixit, you can buy the cord.
I must have just gotten lucky when I got them then, because I ordered my headset full kit no problem, and I ordered an extra pair of controllers straight from Steam no problem. Like it never said out of stock or anything.
Well, when did you do that?
And it was probably like 2 months ago when I got the spare pair of
I mean, did you
controllers
buy a
around
full
2 months
kit?
ago or so.
Or did you bought? What'd you say?
I bought the full kit back in January, and then I bought the spare pair of controllers like two and a half months ago, something like that.
Yeah, I think that was when they were like just about to run out. Because what happened is basically it went from like everything was there, and then I think they stopped selling individual controllers, and you could only buy them as a pair or something. Because like when I bought
PlayStations are already scarce.
my left, so my left controller went out. I had to ship it off, so I went ahead and bought a replacement because it was taking too long. But I couldn't buy a right one. I wanted to buy both. Actually, I think back then they literally were only selling the singles. Now I think about it. But either way, they've had weird issues. Go ahead, Yellow.
I was gonna say I actually ordered mine like when the pandemic started, and there was like an Excel sheet on Reddit, and people were keeping track of when orders were actually being fulfilled, and it took me I ordered mine in like April of 2020. I didn't get it till August. Like I waited like 14 or 15 weeks or something to get
That's
my
when I
index
got
and
mine.
everything.
I went through the same thing.
Still going strong though. The plastic bit here broke off, so it's like been taped around, and then I'm finally starting to see pixels. So like after 2 years, my cable's like starting to go a little bit. So it's held up really well. The controllers though, on the other hand, this grip's starting to fall off. I'll probably start getting stick drift on this soon. We'll see. But
You haven't had any controller replacements?
I have. I've
Oh,
had
okay.
plenty of left
about to
controller
say.
You should do the tennis tape thing that Ghost was talking about. If you wrap your grips in tennis tape,
it's because a lot of this.
For me, at least initially, I think it was just the constant walking forward. Because
for me, it's the that I hold it like this, and then the wiggling back and forth.
Yeah.
I've been getting into a little bit of echo lately, but it is very difficult to play on the index and it destroys the joysticks.
That's the whole reason I didn't get into Echo, is the inability to play it without using Revive. And I was like, that's a lot of steps that I don't feel like doing.
The thing with Revive that's a real pain in the dick is the delay. So like, do you guys know the mechanics of Echo with like the punching and the shield?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually touched Echo in my life ever. But
so like you can stun another player by just pressing the trigger, punching them in the head. It stuns them, and then you can block it by putting up your shield. You just take this up, press the joysticks, it puts up your shield. But for the Revive, it's delayed by like a second and a half. And somebody could be right there, and I can do it, and I'll like have my shield up fully, or at least it should be, and they just punch straight through it. I'm like, well, I guess I'm just screwed.
Yeah, that's like I know like people have a lot of delay when they use like Airlink to play like PC VR, and it's just like you're gonna like shoot, and it's like boom, like it's like a second late, and it's just it's an awful time.
Yeah.
One of my friends tried to play Phasmo on those like cloud-based gaming services like through his headset, and it was so delayed.
I don't, so many people think that's the future.
On, I'll go. Indian Snow Leopard plays Pop 1 on like a cloud computer, and it runs pretty well. I think he does like Airlink to his like computer, and then that goes to a cloud computer. But he saes he doesn't experience like too much lag.
That sounds like,
well,
I don't know, man. That sounds terrible. I don't know how you couldn't have lag playing like that.
He doesn't have a computer that's strong enough to do VR. So
ERP?
It does depend on the input, I guess, and like it does depend on the input, and I guess like how far technology is progressing. Because the last time that I've seen somebody try to do that with their VR headset, at least one of my friends doing it, that was around 8 months ago.
I'm sure it depends on where you live.
What was that service that they?
Shadow
what was the service they come up with? It was like Plutosphere. No, Plutosphere.
Yeah, that was another one. Just Plutosphere, yeah. I could see it working for games like this, like VRCHAT. I could see people cloud PC all day, right? But shooters, driving
Phasmophobia
games,
would probably work.
Phasmo would work.
Yeah.
It's just gonna come down to the game. But when you get to like competitive games, like there's no way I'm playing Pop 1 like that. You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
And it's no way.
Driving games. I think if somebody tried to take a turn with input lag and they try to take a turn and it doesn't turn, their car just goes right off a cliff.
It's actually worse than shooters. Playing driving games on a cloud system is worse than shooters. I've done it. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. But it's interesting that we're talking about like all these like alternative ways to like play different games, and it's like it begs the question, like obviously Pop 1 is crossplay, Onward is crossplay, Contractors is crossplay. Like should VR games strive to be like crossplay moving forward between like Quest and PC VR, or because like Veil, for example, we'll get into that. Right now it's kind of only PC VR, and you have to worry about player population for sure, but I mean they seem to be doing a decent job of it.
Though. They're coming to PS5 for sure. I've heard.
I think the main
if you can
argument
find one, I feel like I could have a better chance getting a black market kidney than a PS5.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the thing is going to be how well the Quest 2 plays against the Index, because like Pop 1, I know there's a lot of things they can't do because of Quest 1, right? Like the 24-player lobbies, they exist, and they were in the season during summer, but too many people on Quest 1 were lagging because of that. So it all come down to, because I know Quest 2 is not going to get rolled out for a while, right? Quest 1 has already started. You can't play Knock on Quest 1. I don't think you can play Beanstalker on Quest 1, can you?
You can't play Beanstalker.
I think you can play it on Quest 2, but not
Quest
Quest 1.
Beanstalker?
Can you not? Is it PC only?
PC
There's
only.
a couple other games. I know Knock's one of them.
Resident Evil? But also,
There's a couple. Resident Evil Quest 2.
People made it run on Quest 1.
They can mod
it's just
it,
a marketing thing.
So it's gonna come down to
honestly. Thank you for bringing up those lobbies, because in my mind a few months back, I was like, I swear to God, I remember the lobbies being a bigger size, and I thought I was going insane.
They were
Like, I
24.
thought I
over
just
the
like
summer of
lost
last
some
year.
of my like memory there for a
Dude, it
little
was
bit.
honestly rough when they made the lobbies smaller again. I was like, this is boring. I think everybody got used to it again, though.
Yeah. There's always something going on.
I think
I
I
know
hate
that
bigger
Pavlov
lobbies
are,
right now,
like,
to be
the-
honest.
The release candidate for Shack right now, because what they're doing is they're like upgrading the entire engine, so that's what Pavlov is doing. And of course they have their PC VR build, and then they also have their Pavlov Shack, which is the Quest exclusive, and
They're about to
they're
merge
dropping
'em, yeah.
Quest 1 support.
Yeah, they're about to
they're
merge
gonna
them.
make
Merge
it
Pavlov.
really paper Pavlov. The
Oh, they're about
Quest
to they're about to
shortcut is
they're about to
going
go
blow up.
out of early access. They're about to make it not a free. They're about to take the Shack part off. and,
Yeah,
like,
that's
call it
that's what I'm
Pavlov
saying.
Quest.
The-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm honestly like, I don't really mess with Reddit, but I'm considering making a Reddit account for that day just so I can see how many people are going to be extremely pissed.
I'm sure a lot of people.
Because there's so many people that like can only play. There's so many people that can like only play Pavlov because it's free, because they
It's free.
depending on people's. Well, yeah, I mean, depending on some people's current economic situation, sometimes people are too young to get a job, or maybe they're just in a bad area where they can't get a job. I feel
I
like
will say
most
this
of our
though,
economy
like
is
if
still
you have a
recovering from
VR
COVID.
headset, you're not that poor, right? Right? VR.
No, but I'm saying
a lot
like,
of times.
But
I'm not saying
people's
every
situations do
situation,
change.
but
Somebody may have gotten
that's
gifted
true.
it.
That's true. But like, I mean, they got it. They don't sell. They don't sell microtransactions,
It's the same as a
right?
console now. Quest is
They-
cheaper
nah,
than
yeah,
a PlayStation.
They want to. They have. My understanding is that they have the back end of it all done, and that
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Yeah. I mean, you press a button in the game and it says coming soon. It's the biggest troll ever. It's been there for like what, a year?
A year and a half. Yeah.
But no, they have like the back end of it done, and the thing is that the Shack is going to be, I think, $25, but they want to try to do as many discounts as they can for it, and especially because, like, they're dropping the Quest 1 support for when they release it on the new engine, which it's going to 4.27 Unreal. So, but at the same time, like, they want it to, they've gotten it kind of like, at least in the release candidate, they've gotten it pretty close to like all the features that PC has and then some. And so it's interesting to see, like, I feel like they could probably, combine the two in a way. And that,
I'm just wondering how much player base will go down if they make it free,
I mean, up.
or if they don't.
You
If they
mean
take
go-
away that free tag. Yeah. If they take away the free tag.
It
I
will
mean,
go
they'd
down.
have to like start doing
there's
a
no doubt of it.
microtransaction plan. You know what I mean? Because it just doesn't have any way to make any money at all, unless they just charge
Pop 1 needs to
outright
go free
for it.
soon.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Pop 1 should be free because it
Soon.
makes a lot of money off
Soon it should.
microtransactions. So
And you got to fix the matchmaking thing. And if you have a surplus of players, then you can actually worry about
Yeah,
matchmaking.
'cause
That's something
now that
Apex
Ranked
and
is
Fortnite
here-
can do that these games can't. Yeah, exactly.
actually, I'm gonna talk about
Yeah,
that
and
later.
that's
Let's
about
go
thing-
through more slides.
Biggest thing I'm
Let's
gonna
go through
rant
more
about
slides.
with the devs though for Pop 1 at
Look, I
least,
got it
they
in
put
here
in the
again.
button where
Alright.
you can reset the mics, and that you can reset like the mics in the game without having to restart the entire game.
Look at this
biggest
douchebag.
lifesaver button ever. The hell is that guy?
So
Isn't
before
that
before we go on to this, so like speaking of like before we go on to the next thing, speaking of prototype headsets, what would be y'all's one thing that you would want out of like future next gen VR headsets? Like if you had to pick one thing.
Wireless or eye tracking. Wireless or eye tracking.
Wireless, probably. I mean, if it means that with PC, it's like with PC VR, it's like it's hard. I think just generally like some way to make it, still high quality, but like lower the price. You just need to break that barrier to entry. So
I would make
maybe-
it
What would
lighter.
you
Mine
want?
would-
I would
Not-
just
not
make
for
it. I
everybody
would
else.
make it
What do you
less
want?
bulky. Less bulk, like something smaller and lighter. That would be the most important thing, more than resolution and wireless. I actually don't care about wireless that much.
The only reason I care about
Yeah, I
wireless
mean-
is because you have to be like right next to your PC to play, and you also fix the amount of cable issues that you run into. So like it fixes another issue, which is cable issues.
I mean,
just want
I've
better
tried wireless. It's
joysticks.
definitely better, but like, it's not my
let's
main
fix
thing.
the stick drift. How about that? How about we fix stick drift as
Oh,
like
no,
the number
I'm
one
You know
thing?
what? I was gonna have a different answer. I
God.
want to change my answer to that.
Have working analog.
Stick
Honestly, that's like an
drifting,
industry problem.
Yeah.
Like even like people complain about joysticks on everything.
Yeah, that's
Literally.
true.
I mean,
They
Nintendo
complain about them on
Switch.
Switch.
The only
Yeah.
company
Also,
that for sure makes
is
solid.
your camera supposed to be spazzing out like that?
It looks
It's
fine
I'm
to
looking
me.
at it a couple times. It's been like twitching. It's been like it occasionally will just like twitch back and
I think
forth.
it's
I don't
your
know if like it's
computer.
making the audience like move. Okay.
No,
I just want to make sure the audience wasn't looking at like a
Twitch.
skier like.
That's Zuck. That's just Zuck. He's
Yeah.
taking control for a second and then. coming
Also,
back in.
product placement. You said the word Twitch, anyways.
I
yeah,
forgot what I
Oh
was
yeah.
talking
Before we
about.
continue, this podcast is brought to you by VRCHAT.
We were talking about things that you want in VR.
Yeah,
Things
I
that
said
you want
wait.
in
Y'all
VR.
said y'all both said wireless, right? Or no? What you said eye tracking, and you picked two. You cheated.
Eye tracking for
wireless.
streaming, but wireless for not. Like
Yeah, you're a
eye
cheater.
tracking would be
All
specific.
right,
for
Tamachi's a
streaming
cheater.
because
He picked
that-
two. And Wise Director, what did you pick again?
Well, you know, I'm just gonna say I want to be able to combine hardware with headsets. You know, like be able to use different controllers for different headsets. Like if it was all cross compatible, that would be the one thing I would want to change about VR.
That would be kind of cool. Yeah, more intercompatibility between headsets. Yeah.
Yeah. So like because
I think they're
love
working
the
on that,
Oculus Rift
honestly.
CV1 controllers. Those are still the best controllers to me of all time, but I can't use them with the Index. And it's so morbidly depressing. My friend is literally working his ass off to try to make a program where he can use the CV1 controllers with his headset because he loves the CV1 controllers that much.
People do get used to things. So this picture here, do y'all remember this headset right here?
No.
I remember Thrill's
Vague.
video on it.
I remember seeing a picture of
It's
it.
the HTC Flow. Remember it has
Okay.
like a 3-minute battery, and it's like super light. And you had to use your phone as a controller. Oh, they're relaunching it.
Okay.
All right, they're relaunching the business edition. All right, and now it comes with a controller, guys. It's very exciting. HTC's next product for VR.
It looks like a controller
This is
for a
not a
vibrator.
meme, by the way. This is real. Why is
That
HTC
looks like the,
so bad?
Oh God, what was the headset? What was like the Oculus Go? That looks like the Oculus Go controller.
But like worse. But worse. I think it does less than an Oculus Go controller, but I might be wrong.
It looks like the shitty remote that you get when you stay at a hotel, and they give you like a super shitty remote to control the TV. That's that remote.
It's pretty bad. All right, I just thought that was funny, but that is a recent thing. HTC's relaunching that headset. Oh, I'm clicking the camera. And we have the leaked PlayStation VR picture.
Yeah, somebody's gonna be.
This is
in
the first
big
real
trouble for
picture
that
of
one.
it. Did you already see
Looks
this?
like football
Wise?
gear.
I have not. I didn't. So I'm guessing
it's a
somebody
treat
that
for you.
got it early released a picture when they weren't supposed to.
Evidently. Yep, evidently.
Because I can tell you,
Unless
I
it's a
tried
3D
it at a
printed
friend's
fake or
place. I tried
something.
I tried the original one at a friend's house to try to play Beat Saber, and trying to play that as opposed to my PC VR, I wanted
Oh,
to
it's
quit
bad.
everything. Like I never wanted to touch that again. It was the.
It's crazy refresh rate too. If you play like Beat Saber at like 120, 144 hertz, and then try to play Beat Saber like on a Quest or something at like 80 or 90, you're just like, man, I feel like I'm missing everything. Like refresh rate's a huge thing. Yeah, like it doesn't feel like it. Maybe it's just to us because we're so much more sensitive to it. But
Samachi heard it here
And
first.
because
He
we
says
can
it.
go. Because we can go to 144. Because that just
Yeah.
feels like
Super godly.
yeah,
I have mine set at 144. I was trying to remember what I had mine set to.
I play on 120 a lot.
I have some.
It's because I don't feel
Yeah,
like
it's
switching
turned
it
down
back.
from
I was
144.
looking at my
sometimes.
resolution per eye, and I found out you could put it to 500% one time, and I just said, guys, I'm gonna see everything, and I just scrolled all the way over. It didn't really do much, but like it was really funny it was really funny when we started playing Onward, and I'm
Usually-
like, guys, I can already see the enemy.
Yeah, usually the resolution doesn't
Supervision.
kick in unless you restart your game. But when it does, when you do
Yeah.
play at that, did you actually have frames? When I did that, I dropped to like 20 frames. I was like,
Somehow I still had frames. I don't
nice.
think it kicked in. I don't think it kicked in as much, which is why I think I still have frames, but I normally have mine set like 150%.
I think some of the devs were talking in Veil about adding a resolution scale slider in Veil, so that people on Oculus would be able to have the resolution slider as well, because that's something that index users have, or like PCVR can do. So I think I had read something that they were thinking about doing something like that.
And like force different stuff. Like you can force
Yeah,
different.
but you're asking people to do a lot of effort there.
So I think
saw an
SideQuest is
ad
getting
for
easier soon.
SideQuest.
They're going to be having it where you can do it in the headset now. Like it's like because
That's what I was gonna say. Is I saw an ad where they're like, "Oh, SideQuest is gonna be where you can just have it just on your Quest," but their ad like slogan for was "Be free from your PC," and they're trying to they're having the ad sound like the PC, like having a PC is the most terrible thing for a VR headset ever. They're like vilifying having a computer.
Well, I think SideQuest is like it's a lot of free content for people. So a lot of the people that are like desperately wanting to use SideQuest are people that don't have PCs or aren't super tech literate. That's been what I've noticed.
Yeah, but vilifying having a PC when a PC was used to make SideQuest is just kind of like,
Yeah.
It's just
Well, at
business.
least it's more. It's making it more convenient. Do y'all have anything else to say about the
PlayStation VR.
PS5 picture before we go on?
I mean, I want it to hurry up and come out so that
Me too,
we
me
get
too.
more titles. More titles is a huge thing for VR. More titles that are crossplay as well, and then just more people in VR.
It looks like a very nice headset.
I
I'm
really
excited.
want there to be more crossplay between all headsets because nothing upsets me more when it's just like, okay, this is like this kind of exclusive. Like I get it for like a business model perspective, but like it is highly disappointing when it's like, oh, you can't play this game with your friend because like it's this exclusive, and it goes both ways. Like I mean, sure, there's some that are PC VR exclusive that I can access, and I'm able to access it, but it still upsets me that like my Quest friends can't play with me. I wish that there was just more cross compatibility. With probably my number one thing for VR is like a wish.
When you were saying that, that's kind of what I was getting into. And I think we got distracted, but it's probably getting worse to a degree, right? Because Oculus wants exclusives.
Oh, it is.
Sony's gonna want exclusives. I think Sony though, they have been getting better where like some of their games are coming to PC. So hopefully some of their VR games come to PC. You know what I mean? And hopefully they even let people plug this headset into PCs eventually. But if not, I'm sure hackers and modders will make it work because they made the first one work.
I do remember that there was a tweet that said that at least Pavlov was confirmed for PSVR 2, or that it was
Veil's
going to
confirmed. From what I know. There's all the games they showed at the showcase. No Man's Sky's working on a special update.
Mm-hmm.
That could be something they could do for Veil if they're going to put it on PS5, or for the PSVR, is to have it to where like they'll have like a limited edition like actual disc to where you can actually put the disc in the PS5.
Yeah, VR Oasis.
Discs.
He had mentioned that like they're not putting Veil on Quest because it's going to be too much to try and fit it on there. And they're just going to worry about PS5 and then whatever comes out like Quest 3. Veil will be on the Quest 3 is basically their plan when there is a Quest 3.
Whenever I was talking with the devs last, essentially their original roadmap is that they wanted to put it on Quest. But unfortunately, the way that they because if you had seen how it was probably 6 months ago versus now, there's so much more visuals added on there that they're just like, local, we can't have it look this good. And then also not have it, and then also have it be on the Quest 2. So their plan is to release it, like you said, on the PSVR, PSVR 2 specifically, and then
that's a huge thing
PC,
for competitive games.
and then hopefully get it to the Quest 3.
Contractors is on Quest and it's on PC, and if the platforms play against each other in competitive, PC players thinks they're hiding in a bush, but to a Quest player they're just standing in the middle of the freaking grass because the bushes don't render on Quest.
So on Quest they have no foliage. Their
flashbang effects last half the time that they do on PC. It's 4 seconds versus 8 seconds. But PC, for example, there's walls that PC players can shoot through that Quest players can't. So there's that's the thing about crossplay too, is that you have to try to make it as equal as possible. And then also the challenge of not downgrading the entire game either. So that's
that is definitely a challenge for sure.
It's the
And I think
unfortunate and awesome circumstance Zuckerberg put us in by making a $300 headset.
But what's interesting about PlayStation like 5 and PSVR 2
is that it can maybe potentially help remedy that problem a little bit, where you can have crossplay and have like extra players and not sacrifice like quality, because those PS5s can, I'm pretty sure, run pretty powerful like games on them. So
yeah, that's one of the things I'm excited is like it's gonna bring VR like fidelity back up, you know, because the Quest kind of brought it. Like I'm sitting here, it's 2022, and I'm playing a game Pop One that looks kind of like a PlayStation 2 game with good aliasing turned on, you know, and it would just be nice to get VR to like be more Half-Life Alyx quality, you know.
yeah, for real.
That's what people expect out of it. So
I'm excited for Veil though.
yes,
Comes in
Veil's
beta tomorrow, along with.
tomorrow.
I think the Tarkov-ish game also comes in alpha tomorrow. I don't know how many people are invited to that one.
I'll be
but that'll
streaming it
interesting.
tomorrow. We probably all will be streaming it tomorrow.
No, not Veil, but there's another game coming out tomorrow in alpha, which is basically Escape from Tarkov.
Oh, how long till Veil comes out?
Veil's tomorrow
Veil's
as well.
Oh, okay. You
Or
just
rather,
confused
the
me.
beta access is tomorrow. Yeah, I was just talking about more things coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
But Veil's going to be exciting. I'm interested
To see how many people
Which-
are going to be playing tomorrow, because I know a lot of people have been
interested in it for a year
Well-
and haven't been able to play it yet.
And the biggest thing that, you know, I feel like people as content creators try to need to push out for VR is that there's a lot of crowd control that goes into it. If you want something to happen with a game, try to make it happen. Like if you want this game to be able to have stuff, support the game. I mean, for instance, one of the biggest things with Veil that they've been talking about is and then the points that they've been trying to push lately, at least, is that if they can, during this beta, because they're pretty much just letting everybody play the beta. Like, you request beta access, they're pretty much going to give it to you. Like, there's not a lot of people that I've seen that are going to be denied. And so the more people that we have playing the beta that can get into it very easily, the more hours that people have logged on there, Vail can take those hours from the Steam beta tests and go to investors and say, hey, look, these are hours. Will you invest in us? If they get enough money, they can essentially make the game free. That's what they said they want to push towards, is making the game free. So it's really the power to the players at this point. If, as a collective, people can go and play this game, we can make it free to where all of us can play it and give it to a wider
That comes
audience.
down to the devs a lot, though. Like, the fact that the Veil devs have the ability to do that. Because people have tried that with Pavlov for, like, 3 years, and the Pavlov devs kind of just like, nah, fuck you. I want to make World War II update because that's what I want. Which is fine. He's allowed to make his own game. But it's showing that it is a lot up to, like, the devs that are actually working on the game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we could get, half the VR space to play and they cannot make it free. But the thing is, if we want something, there's so many people are saying we want this to be free, they want this to be free. I'm letting everybody know, if you want this to be free, be the person to make it happen. Don't just say, I want it, and then do nothing about it, and then complain when it doesn't happen. If you want something, do something about it.
Is Veil's planning on? It's. I know they said they're planning on it being free, right? You saying that could like change?
They said they want it to be free, but it depends on how this beta goes. They're putting a lot of the resources into this beta, and depending on how the beta goes is what's going to determine if they can make it free or not, because they're going to be logging all the hours on there, seeing how many people play it, how long these players are playing it for, and they can go with that information to investors to be like, hey,
I think that's just
if you
marketing.
give us money.
Yeah.
I feel
Okay,
like
I could
they
see
already
that.
know
That
they're
makes
gonna
sense.
make it
Actually,
free, but
yeah. If like the player base, it's like, hey, we
don't
have
know.
X player base, and they're playing X amount. My thing is like, there's just not many PC players. Like, there just isn't.
Comparative
sad-
speaking, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a sad reality. So, I mean, if you go and look at how many people are playing Pop 1 on PC, it's depressing.
60.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was talking about with one of the things I was talking with my friends about, like ads and investors and all that. So let's just say theoretically with Population 1, because obviously we're all familiar with that. If there was billboards in there, like let's just say, one of the billboards that had like the in-game Pop 1 stuff on the electronic billboards, if that had an actual product on there, like a real life product that was on that billboard, that an investor paid Population 1 to do that, to put their ad space on there, and the revenue that was generated from that went to providing in-game content for the players as well as making the game cheaper, would that bother you?
Just don't make it Diablo.
I mean, that was
Immortal,
what they were
I'm
thinking
okay.
was gonna. That's what they were thinking was going to happen when they actually started to make the billboards move in the first place, and it hasn't happened yet. But there's a lot of people that said they're going to stop playing the game if something like anywhere close to that started happening.
Yeah, see, I mean, like, I don't want it to
Totally
be
not
like,
reading
oh, your
chat.
game's loading in. Look at this advertisement. Like, don't shove it in front of people's faces. Don't ruin the immersion. Don't make it to where like they're forced to look at it. Because
Would it not
if
ruin
somebody
the
pays it
immersion
to
if you're
have it in
trying to
the
climb the billboard and you see McDonald's though?
I mean, McDonald's. What is McDonald's is a place?
No,
what if they
because-
revamped Pop Chicken into McDonald's, right? And then it was lore friendly. I know it'd be terrible. We'd all be so angry to lose Pop Chicken.
But I mean, like,
My
but I mean,
beautiful
like,
building.
I feel like I don't, because people treat that differently. I remember that there was a game that was like doing in-game advertisements, and they got completely chastised for it. But like,
Oh yeah,
I
it
feel
was
like if there's
it was
advertisements.
what was that game where you like shoot each other like close range? Blast on, blast
honestly
on,
can't remember
blast
the name
on.
of
It's
it.
called blast on.
game where you shoot each other?
No. It's like you're kind of shooting each other, but you're not that far apart. Like it's a close range PvP shooter. That's the best way to describe it. But
I
it's
do know the
Blast
game
On.
you're talking about.
I
but,
didn't
like,
really give a shit that Blast On was gonna have ads. Honestly, the reason everybody freaked out is because people wrote bad articles about it, right? And then people are like, "Oh, fuck Facebook! I don't want Facebook in my game." And then,
1984.
like, it really wasn't that big of a deal, to be honest, to me.
The time is nigh.
I'm way more worried about like pay to
mean-
win and like data, like people stealing my data, than I am an ad in a waiting screen.
We need a pay to win game. We need a pay to win game in VR.
Make it happen.
More cancerous than
trying to
ads
think,
that would just
is
be-
pay to win.
I feel like at that point that would just be like some of the largest content creators, at least for VR, would be showing up there to be like, "Chat, give me money so I can win."
Like if you had to pick pay to win or ads, what are you going to pick?
Ads.
You're gonna pick ads every time. Pay to win's the worst
I
thing.
don't know because I feel like
imaginable.
the ads
The ads are like the Zenith argument. I don't know if you have a Zenith slide, but Zenith got an update, right?
and you spend the majority of your time now
Sitting in Zenith because they removed the ability to fly super fast in Zenith.
and because instead of having you do stuff in the
Overworld, you are now doing stuff. Yeah, you can't fast fly
Yeah,
anymore.
'cause it was
And they
apparently
removed the.
unintended.
They didn't remove it, but there's no reason to do the world boss or the invasions anymore because everybody's spending time in their instances. So everybody's like secluded from the rest of the world, and they're spending a lot of their time in loading screens, and they can't fast fly around the world. So that's something you notice is because you're spending so much time just sitting there staring at a loading screen. And I brought this up in my Zenith video as well, but people are actually there sitting looking at the loading screen, right? If you have
Apex and you have
played.
a long queue time, or if Apex puts in advertisements, right?
you can just look at your second monitor when the ad, like it's what happens when you
Go to someone's Twitch and the pre-roll ads are going on their channel. You just look at your second monitor and you just like mute it and just wait and like you're looking at your
email, okay, ads over, I'll go to the stream now. You can't do that in VR. Like if there's an ad in front of you, you are stuck.
with the shitty ad or whatever
That's
it is
good
in
for
front
the
of you. Like, you
advertiser,
can't
I
escape
guess.
that. You're there.
And they
It
have
is,
eye
but I
tracking,
mean,
so
unless you,
they know if you
unless
took
I
your
just push
headset
the
off
Steam
and you try to
button
look
and now I'm
away.
watching YouTube.
Yo,
Yeah,
we
but
just
not
listen,
everybody's on
here's what we'll
Steam,
do.
and I'm
When
talking
they add
for the
eye tracking
average
to the
person
headsets,
here.
just make sure we never look at the ads.
average
We make
person.
sure that they know
No,
we
the
didn't watch.
Eye tracking would make it so the ad is
Don't
always
tell
where
them
you
I'm
are.
secretly watching YouTube right now.
the ad moves where you
I'm
look
using
with the
this
eye
is my
tracking.
advertisement.
Oh, no. That's the
That's
the
what's gonna
opposite way
happen.
to use it. It's like we don't test to see if you're looking at the
You
ad.
remember?
We
You
force you to
remember
look at
Ready
the ad.
Player One? Remember
IOI and Ready Player One? It's like there is 15% of unused ad space on this person's HUD that we can fill with pay to win shit.
It's gonna be that.
Oh god.
And because eye tracking is going to exist, they're going to be knowing where you're
Wait,
looking.
so isn't- hold on.
They didn't actually watch the ad. Roll another one. Roll another one.
The
Even
15%
worse than
is
ads.
filled by saving 50% or more by switching to Geico.
Let me not say that.
It'd be a Geico ad.
So in addition to ads, because Veil's not even ads. Veil's trying to pay itself with like NFTs and stuff, right? Like that's its plan.
No.
Yeah, that's
No.
they got
They-
like
they-
three.
they
They,
will
I think
have
they got a
a-
little bit over $3 million from their initial NFT sales.
Veil will have
Well, I
microtransactions.
mean, yeah. I mean, that's actually a lot considering I wouldn't imagine that many people are really that worried about it quite yet. Because until it's on PlayStation 5 and there's like a lot of hype around it on like a mass scale, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
They'll
gonna be
have
honest. I don't really give a
microtransactions,
crap about
different
NFTs and all that. But what I thought that was cool is that their version of NFTs is actual in-game pets. Like you're gonna be in an armory, and the actual pet, the
Sorry, quit looking at chat.
the actual like pet that's beside you, like floating around or running around the ground or however they make it do it, those in-game pets are going to be like the worth of actual money. Which, I mean, I'm not gonna bother with like investing and trading with all that crap, but I think it's kind of cool that I'm like, hey, look, this guy's worth $5.
I hope.
I mean, here's the thing: skins are always worth money. Okay, if you can sell skins on an aftermarket like CS:GO,
Well, how
or
much
whatever,
is mine worth?
the skin, I don't know if it's really yours. You could probably sell it, but
No, I'm talking about peeling off my actual skin. You said my skin's worth money. I need to buy something. Hold on.
I don't remember.
that's not-
I think it was cubic inch of skin is like.
but like, so what's the
$1,500.
difference between like okay, an NFT to me is just a way to secure
$500.
a skin.
Look, Sumachi, people are selling bathwater.
it's still
I'm
just a
pretty sure you
skin.
can get away with selling skin.
It's no different.
Yeah,
You aren't
it's-
selling bathwater.
It's weird because it's like it's kind of like it's a buzzword that's thrown around a lot, and it's like the way they implemented it is literally just like, hey, here's an in-game pet, and it's not a competitive advantage at all. But the fact that
There
it's
are
also an
people coming
NFT.
out.
It's not a competitive advantage yet.
There were people that were coming.
No, they don't
until
need
start
to.
shooting lasers and shit.
Hey, all I'm saying
there were
is
people that were coming out saying that the veil was going to be an NFT scam.
Well, they're selling NFTs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a first-person shooter game. The whole point of it wasn't the NFTs.
Talk. Shush. You let Yellow talk.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I want our NFTs that we got from winning that second tournament to be like worth $1 million, so I could just like retire.
At some point,
What tournament was it? Or was the veil one?
Yeah, we won or like tied whatever the pre-alpha one, and then there was the second one that we also won, and we got.
Well, yeah, the
NFTs
pre-alpha one
for.
was the one that the pre-alpha one was the one that I casted for you guys. I was casting whenever you guys won.
Yeah. Mhm. It was
There's
sometimes,
the
and then
second one in November.
and then now we have this one that a lot of
And
people
now
are.
we
So
have-
that's the other thing that is
big
bringing
Veil
up.
tournament. I'll go back
That's
to
the
Veil
other-
to talk about the
I was
tournament.
gonna say we never
Yeah.
quit Veil. We never quit talking about Veil.
No.
All right, talk about the
So
tournament, and then we'll
that's
go to
the
the
other
next
thing
game.
Yeah, that's the other thing that is, I think, bringing a lot of people is just like with the VR esports space and how there really hasn't been a lot of lands. There is one actually happening for Echo Arena soon out in Pittsburgh, because they actually have quite a large league over there in the Echo Arena worlds of like 400 some teams plus. It's ridiculous. Anyways, but Vale is doing, for those of you that don't know, a $35,000 tournament, which the top 4 teams that make it all the way to the end are going to be flown out to a LAN at the studio in Miami, which VR hasn't had something like that yet, and that's pretty dope for all us competitive, sweaty, G Fuel snorting gamers.
Let's go. How soon is it?
So
The LAN itself is in the beginning of October, like the last weekend of September, beginning of October. But it's like every weekend basically leading up to that in like August.
It's going to be, I predict it'll be pretty similar to what happened with Pop 1, though. Because the Pop 1 had an invitational tournament, and the invitational tournament was invitational, which means that the devs like picked the top teams to represent the game and had that go on. But then everybody, during the tournament, after the tournament, everything would complain the whole time about how their team wasn't selected, and there wasn't enough people, like they
People
didn't,
in
like
comp
weren't able to play there.
complaining?
People are going to do that. Yeah, people are
What did
going to
you
do
do
that
to
with
me?
Veil, though. Like, when they have their tournament, they're going to be like, oh, like, some of these people were able to play the game before it was out. Like, all this stuff, and it's going to be the same sort of thing. If they can mitigate that in some way, then I think that they can preserve competitive.
Yeah.
But I'm worried that sort of thing would happen to Veil again.
I mean,
So
I feel
I know
like
I've-
Oh, go ahead.
Go
I was gonna say I feel like they're like the 8 teams that were in the last tournament or whatever. I feel like they'll probably get in, and then you have a lot of other teams signing up over, and it's also coincided with IVRL, which is a league that has popped up. There's like so many leagues to keep track of these days. It's ridiculous. Between like VRML and VREL and IVRL and
And a lot of them
whatever,
sound like a
Arc
rural.
League.
Pop 1 has like 7. Yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, I would love someone to like count how many Pop 1 servers there are, like between the streamers and the clans and the esports groups and the just random like 5 kids in a meme server. Like there must be 100.
I'm already in
200.
too many Pavlov servers. I can't imagine what it's like for Pop 1 that
It's
has
way
like
worse,
triple
I'm
the
sure.
population.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think I'm in like half.
But at least they're doing something with competitive, unlike every other VR game, right? There's no other VR games that are like, we're gonna push competitive.
Yeah, that's true.
So-
We're gonna like listen to our competitive community. That's like a pretty big thing. I mean, they have their own direction, sure, but like, recently one of the biggest problems is that their aesthetic is black and white, as you can see. And black on black in a competitive shooter kind of is like really hard to see.
Yeah.
So they actually added player outlines, and they're taking that, which is
It seemed like they
cool.
designed the maps around the color schemes too, because the maps have black and white sections to where both colors have places to hide a little bit.
No, that's basically completely removed. So do you know how Valorant does like player outlines or like shaders that like kind of highlight the outside of your character?
Oh, they do
with,
it like that
red?
now? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
actually everybody was like seeing that like, oh, that person's really, really hard to see in that corner. And me and a couple other people actually went to the server and they're like, hey, this is a thing that happens. And here's a picture of how Valorant does it. And like, I literally like took the pictures of like Valorant player outlines and I like sent that to them. And they basically added just that. So they're really like, they've been listening to the competitive community a lot, which is really cool. I know Pop One will have the competitive community in mind, but their first objective is obviously sales and casual community.
Well,
for the
player
most part.
outlines help casual players because they get. It's really annoying getting killed by somebody you didn't see. You didn't even have a fair chance, But
Right.
that's pretty cool.
I don't think there's any other VR games that have
Whenever
been
you
really
were
doing
talking
that.
about flying, you're talking about people getting flown down there. I know I've mentioned this on my streams a few times and stuff like that, but the Tropical is actually talking about like whenever they fly those last teams out there. He was talking about he wants me to possibly do this. We're gonna like finalize anything. I might just actually show up and not actually cast anything. But he wants to try to fly me down there for like the week of the final round of the beta tournament.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be sweet.
I'm in.
It'll be
I'm pretty
awesome to be
close
down
to
there
there,
and
so
hang
I
out with them and everything.
might drive down if it's something I can drive to. I'm like.
And
I'm
Samachi and I are trying to, compete and make it to the top 4. I think we'll do fine.
Yeah, we'll try to get there the hard way.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll make it.
It's been amazing watching that game grow though, because I don't know if I ever told you guys what I did to whenever like I got into Vale. The Tropical actually left like a random comment on one of my YouTube videos like a long time ago. And he was just like, hey, I liked your stuff. We're making our own VR FPS. He like sent me the Steam access key in there. I loaded in. And he didn't tell me until like after we played it together, but he was like, yeah, you're the first person like outside of the developers to like see this game. So like I managed to be the first person to like see this in its entirety before, like actually probably around, I think 4 months before they started to let other people like outside of the development team see it.
Was it still called Shifted at that point?
Yeah, it was called Shifted.
Vale was called Shifted before.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was
it
their whole project
probably-
name.
They had like this, from what I understand, like they got a lot of competitive players involved in like the fall of 2020. Like a lot of Pavlov players I know like at least tried it, and then they had another major alpha test, which is when a lot of us got involved back in like February and March of 21, which is at least how long I've been involved in the community. And then they had their first like pre-alpha tournament in that summer. And then they had their second tournament like close to the winter, and then now they're doing this giant beta and tournament and all that. And so it's just like it's cool to see that like they're experimenting with VR esports and all that, because it's something that I think could be a huge thing come like 5 to 10 years, where I'm probably going to be old and outdated and probably coaching or on the bench or on the casting bench or something, but all the little cracked zoomers
They can
are
be
going to be just
good casters by then.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
Just make sure
that's
it's
why
not the
we're-
casting couch.
Vale's definitely like in all sorts of different aspects. They've like gone above and beyond and like waited, and like been patient. I've noticed. So
It's
even with
gotten,
like live
it's
integration, like
interesting.
Samachi was
It's gotten
showing,
better.
it has like the best
Yeah.
live
It's-
integration
it's-
of any game I've seen.
Oh,
Oh,
I've
there's
bragged
one
about it
because,
several
like,
times.
Yeah.
I actually
'Cause,
talked
on
to them
one
about
hand,
it.
It's like, yeah, it's
So you
like
talked
one
to
hand
Live
they're
guys?
taking their time, but then also like
Yeah, I talked to Live
People
guys
have
too. Those
also
guys are great. They're really kind.
Yeah.
Hey,
they've
go
also
ahead,
like
Yellow.
been criticized a lot. Yeah, they've also been criticized a lot for being really, really slow with their development. And it's like, like one common criticism I saw was like, oh, hey, they only have like 5 or 6 guns, and they've been in development for how many years? Like that was like one of the criticisms, but at the same time, it's like, you know, they're taking their time, like they're focusing on like, you know, the things that need to be focused on, and because it's like, I can't imagine like trying to balance a game with like, you know, 20, 30, 40 different weapons, because like I definitely see it over on the Pavlov side of things of like people ask for like new weapons left and right, like it's freaking H3 VR. But
yeah,
like
turns into a shit show.
Yeah, but like, you know, one thing I do wish they had a little bit more of was like a little bit more recoil, and this is where like, you know, this is where like everybody divides, and this is where like all my bias comes in of like I'm used to like spray patterns and like a lot of recoil in VR, whereas like other people are used to like, you know, pop one, you can just like one hand a lot of things, or like, you know, a lot of other guns are just kind of like laser beams. I'm like, I want a little bit more than
Pop
that.
One latest update added
It's a little different
ton
now,
of recoil
yeah.
to every gun.
Yeah, it's got a lot nowadays. It is still really manageable though, and almost sometimes maybe, I don't know. It's just a different way of doing it, and it's definitely different than what it
Pop
was
One
before.
basically has Pavlov recoil now. As of last month, they basically.
Yeah, I know
have Pavlov
contractors
It seems
also
more intense
updated
than
their recoil.
Pavlov.
Yeah, Pop One actually
really?
feels more intense than Pav for recoil.
Yeah. But the difference for
might have to try it.
me is like with Pavlov, you're just trying to land a couple bullets real quick, and with Pop One, you're like trying to lay a stream down on people.
The time to kill is like way longer.
Yeah, so
Or
you can.
slice and dice.
It's a little. I don't know. It's different. It's very different.
Yeah.
You want to go on the next game?
What is the next
there's-
game?
Not really
I think
much to
there's
talk to
more
about it.
say about that.
Yeah,
Moons, Magus.
have y'all
Magus.
seen any trailers or like footage of this game yet?
I have not.
Seen a
no.
little bit.
So it
I've
comes
been
out on the
swamped with
7th.
work.
Yeah, it comes out on the 7th, and it's basically a JRPG, but in VR. So it kind of, to me, graphically, I hate to say this, it looked like a mix between Breath of the Wild and Zenith. But it's basically a single player JRPG, and there was like, you know, voice acting. It looked like everything was in Japanese in the trailer. So I don't know if they'll have English voice acting or if it's just gonna be text dubbed, but they did have voice acting in Japanese. I would be fine with it.
Well, this is the next thing, right? You gotta get your preemptive gamers and like all the people that are your enthusiasts, and the second steps to get the weebs.
The weebs, yeah. This
And
is
then-
well, you know they have Spice and Wolf
Well-
is like a visual novel. They have
Mhm,
some other semi-visual novel, you know, like robot story game. But this is more.
That's the thing. That's the thing too. Is like, you know, this is the first JRPG that I've seen in VR, and it's like, I feel like a lot of VR right now is just like, you know, social VR and FPSs, and you know, Zenith at least tried to do the whole VR MMO thing, but like, I definitely want people definitely want like a good like VR MMO that like is going to last long and has like that infrastructure of
Not
like,
what Zenith ended up.
This
isn't multiplayer. This is just a single
could
player
be good.
thing.
Yeah,
this
and
is
you
single
said
player.
single player. You said single player. I'm like,
Zenith-
Yeah,
oh,
I know.
Zenith could be good. Zenith can be good, and I think the main thing that Zenith and all VR games need to do in general, and it's something that Pop One has really tried to focus on, and a couple other games have really tried to focus on.
But you have to make your game for the medium. And I think Zenith is adding in a lot of stuff that's grindy and that's, you know, loading screens, and that's like this stuff that works in flat screen because people have a second monitor or because they're fine with doing something that's just grindy. But when you're in VR and doing it, it's completely different. Like Pop One had a lot of like talks about, we just like looked at a thing and we're like, would this be fun in VR, right? Like, what do people want to do in VR? They want to fly around, they want to shoot people, they want to do stuff they wouldn't be able to do in real life, and they want it to be fun. And there's a lot of aspects for, like, Zenith did flying really well
Well, dude, if
for a
Zenith,
while.
if
Like,
Zenith
the
instead
flying
of
still is better.
instead of them putting like all this gatekeepy stuff and like, oh, you need 40 million coins to go run the raid, like they should have just put a couple like cool social games in the world that people would get distracted on naturally. Like add tic-tac-toe. You know what I mean? Add chess. Add like just random like things in the tavern. Add just like simple social things that people can do together.
But it does need to be
I got
made
distracted
for VR,
all the
and I
time
think that's the
in
big thing.
Zenith, just at the bar drinking with people and talking and hanging out. And there's nothing to do, but I still found myself distracted with people. And if they just sprinkled in a
Fishing.
couple like interesting things like fishing or something to distract people,
Fishing in VR.
they wouldn't have
Fishing's
to
how
pad
you
their
make a game good.
But hopefully this game has a good
Add
story
fishing to Pavlov.
and good combat. I really can't say much about
I
it
forgot.
until it comes out, but I'm looking forward to it. I'll buy it and stream it.
Did you guys play that one roguelike mage-ish, future-ish
Beanstalker?
game that came out for VR?
No.
Oh, I know what you're talking
I don't
about.
remember the name of it.
Sweet something. Sweet.
No. It's by the same people that made Against, the same people that made Stride, I'm pretty sure. Joyride? I'd go get the name of it really quick.
Is it? It's not roguelike. Beanstalker. Beanstalker.
When I was looking at that
Beanstalker?
picture, I don't. My friend was sending me clips of it. It was some anime that I think it was like the way that the wall was in the background and the roof. It and like the way the roofs are sloped. It reminded me that what's Attack on Titan? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Attack on Titan is definitely a thing.
That's like that's what that art style reminded.
It's
Well,
a
I don't
show
watch
that
shows.
That is a
I don't-
thing. It exists.
Well, like that's what the art style reminded me of, because he sent me like a clip out of it on YouTube. He's like, "Hey, look
talking
at
about this
crap,"
game?
and it was just some like giant. Yeah, it was just some giant monster just fucking taking a bite out of something. I'm like, oh my lord.
Oh, this game is definitely not Attack on Titan. This game
Outlier.
looked like, I don't know, RPG Zelda. Like the particle effects reminded me of Twilight Princess. You know, when they had like the
It was called
square blocky
Outlier.
effects. Outlier. I have heard of that. I don't think I played it. But
I
yeah.
feel like that's the title
So
sounds familiar, but I
Beanstalker,
can't place it.
The only reason I put this in here is it came out June 6th. I really like it. Go buy it. I think everybody here's
It's a good game.
yeah.
It actually has bosses with mechanics, and it has fun grinding things.
Was this the MMO that you were telling us about?
No, this isn't an
No,
MMO.
that
It's
was
just like
probably
4-player
Zenith.
co-op.
Nah, it wasn't. It was something else. It also started with a B, which is why I was confused.
Alicia is the
Zenith?
other.
I think he's
The
just obsessed
Zenith
with. I think
update?
he's just obsessed with beans.
The Zenith update. I'm just kind of we're going over like stuff. This is recent VR games, recent updates. We talked about Zenith quite a few times throughout the whole podcast, but anybody get like
Yeah,
quick
when you talked
words
about
for
the Zenith
update
loading screens, I was
specifically?
just thinking of low end PCs running Skyrim.
Back in the day, yeah. Now
Those loading screens
low
are
end
trying to go in the
PCs.
overworld.
Like that's
Oh,
the only
God.
game they can run is Skyrim.
I think Zenith's issue is going to be by the time that Zenith is in a state where I'm like, hey guys, Zenith, like, because I had videos from the Zenith Alpha, and I was like, this game's looking to be really good. And when Zenith came out, I'm like, guys, this game's great, right? And since the last update, I'm like, this game is going down now. But I think Zenith's going to run into the issue, but by the time that there's enough content for me to be like, this is a solid game, worth your money, everything, there's going to be other games. Like Alicia is going to be farther along, and there's probably going to be at least one other one.
So the
Agreed.
contractors effect, essentially, like where like contractors like, oh, now it's like, you know, kind of on the uprise, but like for a while it's just like very low population and didn't really take any opportunities.
I think, yes, that, but it's way worse.
For an MMO, because the majority of an MMO, or like a lot of an MMO's
Content is social aspects or doing things as a group, whereas like contractors, it's like lobbies.
and you can always fill a lobby in contractors. But with a game like Zenith, you need people to run the dungeons with, you need people to do all the events with and everything like that. So I feel like it's way worse for
For an MMO to like be on the downscale for player base.
Do you think they made the dungeons instanced because of a technical reason, or do you think they did it as like another way to try and keep too many people from going in there together, or like why did they instance
I think they
the
did it
dungeons?
because the player base is so spread out across all the servers. The whole reason for the instance is so you can
Instance with people on the other servers, right?
when you queue for an instance, it's not just queuing for your server, it's queuing for all of the
Oh,
servers.
because they have no player base.
So it's a way to pull, and that's why you have to like reset your chat.
Every time you come out. But yeah, it's a player base thing. And
a
it
player
Makes
base
sense
thing,
why it's
yeah.
there.
But with the amount of loading screens and with how long the dungeons take, like 5 or 10 minutes. Like the raids take like, 30 minutes maybe. Like 5 or 10 minutes between loading
I
screens.
don't know why they just
and-
didn't pull a Destiny and like, every so many sections of it, they just stop you with a wall. And they're like, you have to fight this shit. Because you can literally just run through. And, like, the strat is run past every enemy and get to the boss and kill the boss and do it again. And it's just like, they could have... And it's not like they didn't get
At
creative
least the enemies
all.
in Destiny can drop stuff, though. You can kill a common enemy in Destiny, and it can drop a yellow engram, right?
Yeah, it could drop an engram.
Exotic. But like,
there's no
you
reason
kill an
to
enemy
kill
in Zenith,
enemies.
there's no reason. There's no reason to kill anything in Zenith.
Once they're not giving you XP for like leveling, which is most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's I don't know. It's
Next slide. Get
the
Zenith
way,
out of here.
the way that you said Engram, it reminded me of something I've been doing lately to see like if it. I'll do it to see if it irritates anybody, but like I'll just take words that people normally spell out and I'll put them together. So they're like, they're in the VR, they're in the VRML. I'm like, are you talking about the
Smashy's like,
vermal?
what's the slide? The vermals. The
Yeah,
vermals.
I'll
Ranked
like-
mode, right?
Or like, or
Ranked
they're like,
mode.
there's an EMP. Emp?
So when I
Just to see
googled,
if like, so either some people get irritated or some people like.
when I
it's me.
googled about this,
Let's go.
okay. So next thing is like Pop 1, the new update for Pop 1, and how we feel about it now that the season, or not the season, but the first grind is over. We got our flight trails and whatnot. When I googled Pop 1 Grand Banana, this was literally like in the top couple images.
Let's go.
And I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll just put this picture in here.
YouTube money.
Let's talk about having ranked mode in VR games in general. Because I think this attracts a lot of people. As much as we'll hear a lot of people saying that, like, there's going to be a split community with competitive stuff in general, right? You're going to have the casual people that are like, I just want to be able to play this game and chill. You're going to have all of the competitive people that are like, I wanted something to grind all along. So what do you guys think is like the way to go? Do you add a mix?
You gotta have. I
Is
think you have to have
competitive,
ranked.
This
Like,
is
every game has ranked.
This is one of the first ones, right?
Yeah.
Well, VR. This is one of the first. Knock had ranked mode, but there was not an unranked mode. So I guess
There
take
is
that as you
unranked
will.
modes
But
in a sense.
is there a knock?
I mean, if you go and play
I
TDM
was
or
talking
something,
knock.
or Legion.
No, I was talking about knock. Knock was the first game with. First game with a ranked mode was knock, but there wasn't an unranked mode.
Right.
Pop 1 got a ranked mode. Pavlov has a Discord server for matchmaking, which is really cool.
So I kind of run that and help to run that. And so the thing is, since it's only PC VR, we have like 500 or 600 people in there. So like, the main thing is that people care about ELO, whether you think you do or not. People care about ELO, even though you shouldn't care about ELO, but people do because it's something that they think represents themselves in terms of like skill level and whatnot. Even though it's literally just a rank that places you against other similarly ranked players. Pav has definitely been talking about they want to, they're working on a matchmaking system, and I think just like whether you do a ranked mode or whether you have some sort of incentive for people to play the game is something that is definitely important. Like having a ranked system or having even like a Call of Duty style leveling system that people can grind so that there's an incentive to play the game is very important for VR games nowadays.
For any game.
If contractors got a Call of Duty style grind, I would never stop playing contractors. Contractors needs to like lock their weapons behind like specific levels or like getting a certain number of headshots and give you skins and stuff. I would never stop playing contractors.
Yeah,
if
like
it had
I do
that
like
content.
incentive to level up, as well as like challenges to unlock stuff, like whether it's just cosmetics, like hey, I get 150 headshots, I get red tiger skin for my M4. Like people be grinding that shit all day, and
Yeah.
I don't know why more VR developers haven't capitalized on that yet. Like there's like get your players involved for like the experience, and then have a system to actually keep them hooked.
That's honestly it's any game. I mean, it's extra important in VR because the player base is small and you need every person you can. But like that's how you keep players interested in games. Like,
Now,
in
do you
general.
think that adding a ranked mode to a game like Pop 1, where the player base is less than a flat screen game, do you think that is unhealthy? Because the argument is that adding ranked mode to a game like Pop 1, where the player base is small, and it's a VR game, so it's even smaller, and it could split the community because there's a lot of casual people in VR, right? You don't have that hardcore VR player base yet. Do you think that's healthy, or do you think that...
I think most of the player base of Pop Pop 1, I think a lot of the player base of Pop 1 likes to think of themselves as like more competitive play. Like even people that play Call of Duty, right? A lot of people that play Call of Duty, they like pseudo want to feel like they're doing good at the game and like they're a badass at that game, and some level of ranking and stuff is associated with that, and that's like even if you go back to Call of Duty and just prestiging, right? That's not necessarily ranked mode, right? But you have to grind to get your prestiges, and show them off. So, but like kind of going back to your question, I guess, if like I go into a Legions game, right? There's nobody there. So like in that sense, I think it did kind of have a negative effect because other people aren't playing other game modes. They're just playing squads. If you can get some TDMs, but if you go into like Legions when it was here, it was like dead. Are they planning on making duos ranked when it comes?
Duos will not be ranked.
So duos will not be ranked. So
that,
I think
that was my concern with it.
I asked them, and I'm like, if you don't add the ability to actually, a lot of people get on to grind, right? They'll get on a game, they want to play Pavlov matchmaking to grind their elo. They want to play Call of Duty to grind their prestige. They want to play Destiny because they want to grind out their gear, or they want to do the Nightfall or whatever. So I feel
there's
like
elo in Destiny too. Yeah.
It might have not even be the fact that people weren't playing Legions because the casual player base wasn't there. It's just because people wanted the grind. Everybody else was playing
that's what I was saying,
squads,
exactly.
right?
But it's still like if when the players that don't want to do the grind, they don't have a lobby to go to. Not because there's not a mode there. Because people say, oh, well, they didn't make a non-ranked mode. It's like, well, there is non-ranked modes. But when you go to those non-ranked modes, there's no one there.
I guess the question is, do you think VR is starting to get to the point where ranked mode is healthy? Like, do you think this was healthy for Pop?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think this is a good thing for Pop. 100%.
I mean, being as someone that just kind of plays it casually, like, I'll play to win, but I mean, 9 times out of 10, if I could get an easy kill off someone with a pistol that I could flex if I hit him with a sword, it is just more satisfying for me to get a sword kill. I'll go for it, even if I know there's like a 50-50 chance they'll get me killed. And I mean, so I guess that kind of puts me more on the casual side, but like, I don't really see this as being a problem. Like, okay, I end up getting on the lower ranked, like I don't get a cosmetic. To me, that's not really too big of a deal.
Do you think you played it all for the grind though? Like, did you ever see that and you're like, oh yeah, I kind of want to make it to this rank? Or were you just kind of like, whatever?
Not really. I just kind of play it to play. And so I feel like adding something in like this, it adds the features for people like yourselves that want to have it for that competitiveness and for those cosmetics and stuff like that. And I mean, for them people like me that just kind of show up and play it and do whatever, I mean, it's there if I end up doing well, and then if I don't get it, then I don't get it, whatever. So I feel like it adds those features for you guys. It gives you guys what you want, but it also doesn't affect my gameplay because it's not like giving you better weapons than me because you did.
One of the arguments for like people that play casually is they have their normal friend group that they play with, and their friend groups have started to split off because they have some people in their group that really want to do the grind and worry about their rank and worry about who they're playing with, and the other people who just want to play. So in those terms, it's kind of like
I would say
breaking those groups
in
apart.
that situation, those people aren't really casual players, right? Casual players, they don't really have anybody to play with. Like that's the reality, right? Even some people that are fairly sweaty, they don't have people to play with. I don't think the average casual Pop 1 player has like squad mates. I think they solo queue. That's.
I normally queue up with my friends, but
yeah, I don't think you're casual
more
either.
Games
really,
need
you might
this,
casual,
or do you think VR isn't
quite there for ranked yet?
Do you think more games need like
I'm sorry, what'd
Pavlov
you say?
contractors? Do you think? I'm asking Yellow. I'm asking if he thinks that more like games like Pavlov or contractors need a rank mode, or are we not quite there yet?
I mean, I'm a competitive player, so I mean, I'd be all over something like this, especially just like with any VR game that's out. Thinking back to, I mean, I bring up Pavlov a lot, but thinking back to Pavlov, it kind of like, it almost has like an identity crisis where it has so many different game modes. Like you can play TDM, S&D, Prop Hunt, The Hidden, World War II Push, like Battlefield style, gun game,
Star Wars Zombies.
Star Wars Zombies, Call of Duty, and people have done a lot of custom
put
stuff
up a chair. We're gonna list every game mode.
Halo
We'd be here all
zombies, Halo,
which we
Blood
almost
Bowl
have been. We're gonna
CTF,
end this
like-
soon. This is almost over.
Yeah, but I mean, it like just having like a system in place that also allows you to unlock stuff so that you have the incentive to be like, okay, maybe I want to get to diamond and get a title and flex it, or hey, let me do these challenges like win X amount of ranked games today and get X skin or whatever. Like that's just putting a system in place that allow people to grind. I think it would almost bring more people in because so many like I feel like so many people ask
a
like when are we gonna
necessity.
get ranked?
Like honestly, that's
When
my
are we gonna
opinion.
get ranked matchmaking? When are we gonna get ranked matchmaking? And like you look at a game like CS and like people like pretty much only play ranked and then community stuff, but
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
just
the
having,
argument for Pavlov or CS is you have the alternate game modes that people can still go play in. Whereas Pop
Pop
1,
does
because
too.
the player space is too small, true, but the player base is so small that you might have trouble filling a lobby sometimes.
I think they
right?
could fix that.
And that
because,
would be the argument.
So like they kind of messed up on launch
Free to
because
play.
they launched
Free
it
to
with
play
3
fixes that.
game
Make it
modes.
free to play.
Right? They launched it with 3 game modes.
Yeah, that's true.
And people are, no offense, people are kind of dumb, right? We all know it's not us, right? Nobody here's dumb. Nobody in chat's dumb.
What? How dare you.
It's everybody else, right? No, I'm just
Chat?
kidding.
I can't speak for chat.
Definitely.
Are you calling me
chat,
intelligent?
Chat
How
a little
dare
dumb
you.
sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. but like people want to see it say unranked or something. They don't want to. The people are not going in and like clearly knowing that this mode's ranked and these
Do you
modes
think
aren't.
Pop needs a completely specific?
Yeah, that's what I was about.
Quads
That's what I'm
ranked,
about to
squads
get to.
unranked.
It's like it literally just needs to be ranked and unranked, and the unranked mode rotates, and it's like legions or war.
My
or whatever.
concern.
And it's no different than
Okay,
what it is
yeah,
now.
for that
It's
one
just they don't have 3. They go back to 2 because there's more people interested in 1. And there's not enough room for 3. Go back to 2 modes, make it clear so people know what's what. I think that'll fix a lot of people's complaints.
I think my concern for that is towards the end of the month. I mean, we saw this a little bit this month, right? Towards the end of the month, people are really grinding for those high ranks.
Yeah.
And I feel like the people that
Got there and want to play the game but don't want to grind super hard are going to be in those casual lobbies. So those casual lobbies are just going to be filled with just like.
So what I didn't like about the end of the month is, so it's top 500, right? But like, dude, I could grind my ass off, be 350, and then like lose it. Like it kind of is weirding me out because it's like, okay, if I'm 499 and I go to sleep, right? I'm probably gonna lose it. But it's like, man, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Like it's like I have it, and it's like, oh, if I go to sleep the next day, I'm probably gonna lose it. Like it's, I don't
that's how
have.
they
There's
get
no
you to come
certainty.
back and play it.
I wish there was some certainty, like that. If I'm here at
Got
this
'em.
time, I've got it. I'm locked in. I don't know.
There is some certainty for me.
Oh yeah,
Just
well
gotta
I'm
grind
sure.
harder.
Yeah, I'm sure. You're real certain over
I'm
there.
currently imagining. I'm currently imagining the meme over Starwind's head that says, "Ha, gotcha, bitch."
I did get it. I did get it. I was gonna ask why. So you say you're more casual, right? With Pop.
Yeah.
So when you're
with most
grinding
games,
through the
I
ranks
just,
though,
I kinda
you
just
still
log on any
enjoy
game to have a
doing
fun
it.
time.
Like you'd rather be there than not, even if you're not hitting top rank. Like you're still like, oh yeah, I get gold. Oh, I hit platinum, or I hit diamond or whatever.
I'm gonna be honest. If the ranks were there or not there, I would feel the exact same way about the game. Like to me, it does not affect how I feel about the game whatsoever. I like that it's there for the people that do care about it. That's something that I advocate for a lot, is giving options to players and giving more features to players, because not everybody likes the same stuff and not everybody wants to play the same way.
Understood.
And like, I will advocate for something that I hate, as long as it's an option that's not going to affect the gameplay. You're putting in stuff like this that gives you guys cosmetics. That's not going to affect, it's not giving you just a giant rocket launcher that gets to nuke me just because you played a lot more games than I did. And it's...
If anything, it makes it easier.
I
to
want
kill
there
us
to be
because
more
there's
options.
A giant gold sparkle trail on our backs, just.
Apex has the trails, and people will specifically chase after the people with like the predator trails in Apex just to like beat them to death. It lets them know who to target. Oh, I like this one.
I had nothing. I had nothing after this.
The trails in
I was just
Apex. I know
making
Yellow's
sure.
played Apex a lot, but
like this
People
one.
have trails in Apex based on where they ranked, and people will just
I still
straight
have
chase
my
we
after
could go
them.
back to. Hold on, this is a good picture to have
I don't
up
know
here.
how many
Hold on.
seasons ago of Apex.
I'm gonna be honest. I've only ever played literally one round of Apex.
Should we have
so
wide
I know
zuck
nothing about the
or
Nah.
Is there any
Happy
other
Zuck.
VR things that we want right now? Like, what's the thing we want? I want more games. Or more
Some
games that I can
sort of
play with flat screen people because like
some sort of
schizophrenia.
I want
Yeah.
PlayStation VR to come out, man. I really feel like it's gonna be a game changer. That's what I want. I want.
Are you telling me I can have more games and have them all
You know what I
crossed out
want?
with
I want
optimization? Elo?
HTC to
Sign
stop
me the
sucking.
f- up.
Can HTC stop sucking, please?
Do you think that people may flex with Elo kind of like people do at the gym? They're like, bro, I play pop 5 times a day. You want to go, bro?
Honestly, yo,
People
my
do that in
shoulders
lobbies.
are definitely
Look at my sparkles.
definitely
They have like the Chad pose. Just you want to go, bro?
more
No,
chatty.
it's funny because I remember
Since playing
like
Pop.
grinding like when I was like in high school and grinding like Black Ops 2 when it first came out, and I'm like 8th prestige and everybody else is 2nd prestige or like 1st, and they're like, dude, like get a life. I'm like, bro, I'm in school. What do you want? Like,
Oh, I saw a post where apparently somebody had a recorded medical condition they had to get treatment for because of how much they played VR.
No, there's been 4 people. We actually talked about this on one of the podcasts. There's been 4 people that have
Okay,
cracked
I
a
only heard of
vertebrae
one
in their
of them.
neck. 2 of them were while playing Pop.
Well, no, I'm not talking about like an immediate injury. I'm talking about something they're gonna have like.
And one of them
so this guy
was from
apparently.
me. No, I'm just kidding.
Apparently there was somebody who like played gorilla tag so much because whenever you're playing that you're only using certain muscles in your arms whenever you're moving and stuff. Apparently he had played for so many hours for so long, like months on end of like nonstop grinding on that game, that his muscles were like just, how do I put this? They were like strengthened in some parts, but extremely malnourished and weakened in the others. And he had to like start taking supplements and do like daily exercise to get his body back to normal because it was like so deformed.
That sounds terrible.
Hmm.
I feel like it wasn't quite as bad as it sounded, but it just sounded terrible.
I know, but I'm just like, I know, but like just thinking that it probably wasn't that bad, but just thinking about like VR was the reason that this happened. I was
VR
like,
is
oh,
definitely way more stress on your body, so which is probably, people need a little more stress on their body these days. They're sitting
That's a
around.
point of entry too.
See, I literally
It
I
is
go
a
to
point
the
of entry
gym
problem,
specifically
yeah.
to build up endurance to play VR for longer.
Yeah. No,
I mean, I
no,
literally started running on the
then
treadmill
that's
so I have
VR's
more endurance
biggest
for when I use my
issue,
catwalk
and that's
seat.
why the number one thing I want out of next gen headsets is more lightness. It's because that's going to bring more people into VR. VR is just too heavy, man. It's too much work for a lot of people.
Can you
People want to relax.
can you see us right now?
Yeah, I can see. Is my eyes closed?
Your avatar's
Sometimes
eye.
they get permanently
your eyes
closed
are
sometimes.
Mm.
All right. Do we have any final words?
Oh, he blinked for a second.
We have any final words for the night before we close things up?
thanks for
Why
having
don't you
us.
look at
dude.
you can look at chat for a second, Star. And see what chat's
been looking
saying.
at
Thanks for
chat.
having us,
I
and
give you
peace and love to
permission.
VR.
Oh,
Bye, chat.
Be the change that you want to see happen. If you want VR to be better, come play it. Make all of your friends play VR. Let's make it blow up.
Beans?
There you go.
Chat, do you want the beans?
Oh, go play Beanstalker, chat.
Yeah, go buy
play
Beanstalker. It's $10.
Bro, it is
We're
2
shilling
o'clock in the morning.
Beanstalker. I know. We went like way over. We usually
these are
try and keep it
amateur
to an
hours.
hour and a half.
I
But I think we went for, like, 2
I have
hours.
Work, I have work in 5. I have work
Yeah, that's
in
what I was
my
like.
7
my
hours.
job ended up
Alright,
giving
get outta
me
here,
off
Yellow.
tomorrow. off
We gotta
because
get
of
better
work.
with
They're
our
like,
our
I'm
time
gonna
management.
leave you with this.
Alright, we're gonna
Sumachi,
raid
though,
somebody.
because I feel
Who should we
like
raid?
you might appreciate this.
Who are we raiding? Who we
hold
raiding?
on.
Chat.
This is Sumachi, the Population 1 type
How does
Pokemon.
that sound?
That's me.
Population 1 Pokemon?
I like that.
That was pretty good.
He
Number
enjoys
line,
being able to
number
shoot people in the face and flex on it with his floaty tail.
I do.
Floofy tail.
What type of Pokemon would you be?
Alright, that's what we're gonna watch as a raid
Electric
chat.
fighter, maybe.
Alright, I'm
I
gonna go
don't
look for
know.
somebody to raid.
Electric something.
All right, let's
Electric
do it.
something.
All right, electric fighter. Let's fucking go. Me, yeah. Dude, it's my schedule has been